Hello fight fans and welcome back to WhatCulture Combat. I am your trusty Gareth today. And what we're going to do, we're going to look at the UFC 248 card, all that card right now, look at all the winners and what is next for them going forward. What's next for middleweight champion Israel Adesanya? What is next for Zhang Weili? What is next for all these fighters that did really well on the weekend and are looking for a new challenge? So, without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, we're going to start straight off with Israel Adesanya, start from the top and work our way back down this card. Israel Adesanya did awesome in the fight based on what he was dealt with, really. I gave him a bit of flack in the ups and downs video that I did, which you should go and check out. It is on WhatCulture Combat. I gave the fight in general a little bit of flack because it was just super underwhelming. We'd waited all this time for these two titanic forces to come head to head and just tear lumps out of each other, and it didn't really happen because it didn't seem like Yoel was really interested in throwing anything. And to be fair, across the fight, I think he must have thrown about 10 punches or kicks. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, the actual facts and numbers, but it didn't seem like a lot was happening from Yoel. And Izzy isn't known for being an aggressor, isn't known for being on the front foot and attacking and going out and putting himself on the line. He's known for being a reactive counter striker. And when nobody's striking at you, you can't really counter. So, and plus he's the champion, so it's not really in his remit to be the person going out there trying to make the fight happen, make stuff happen. He's there to hold on to his belt. I don't think Izzy should be to blame for that fight, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about what is next for Izzy after this fight, after this unanimous decision victory. And I think it's pretty clear at this point, it's pretty much set in stone that Paulo Costa is next on the agenda for Israel Adesanya. That should be a blockbuster. I know we said this coming into Yo Romero, taking him on, we thought that was going to be titanic, but this has to be. If there's any hope and any good in the world, this is the middleweight fight to make. Paulo Costa is an animal. He's just a beast. Every time he throws, anytime he throws his hands, there's a good chance the person on the other side ain't gonna do much moving afterwards. And he's also got a lethal head kick as well. He throws kicks to the body. In terms of striking, it's a brilliant matchup for Izzy because Paulo is going to come forward and drive straight through him, and Izzy is going to have those chances to maybe pick him off. Paulo's also proven with his last fight against Yoel that he can go the full 5 rounds. So this has the perfect recipe, kind of in a nice little vat here. Israel Adesanya, Paulo Costa, put them in there, mix it up, you should have magic. But we've been proven wrong before, so fingers crossed that this fight actually turns out to be decent. Also, the added fact that these two seriously don't like each other just makes everything that little bit spicier, a little bit more entertaining. And that's what we want with our UFC. We want awesome competitive clashes mixed in with a bit of drama. Next up, we have Zhang Weili, who was one half of arguably the greatest fight I've seen live in recent memory that I can think off the top of my head. But Zhang Weili was the victor on the night, and yeah, if you saw the way she left Joanna's face, I think that was the right call. In terms of punishment, in terms of actual power and pain kind of sent out and inflicted onto the opponent, she definitely got the better of that exchange. But the question is now, what is next for Zhang Weili? Obviously at this point, I think she needs to recuperate and just have a minute, kind of just relax, go home and just mull over what happened and just recover her face and body and everything, because she just looked absolutely brutalized at the end of that fight. So one of two things have been spitballed at this point. A lot of people have been saying that a super fight between Valentina Shevchenko and Zhang Weili is pretty much going to happen before the end of the year. I think that's the fight I want to see. Shevchenko did actually come out and said that she thought Joanna won the fight that happened on Saturday, which is, again, quite interesting. I feel like she's just stoking the flames, trying to provoke Zhang Weili a little bit. But she said that Zhang Weili's had that step up in class now, taking on Joanna, and she won't like it. And so with that in mind, she's not going to want to take on Shevchenko, who's beaten Joanna. I mean, that's the epic fight. That's two absolute assassins going head to head. There's obviously the kind of weight difference and height difference. Joanna looked absolutely massive next to Weili. If you saw him on the night, she did look quite like the bigger athlete. But when Joanna and Shevchenko took each other on, Shevchenko looked bigger. So just do the math there. It's going to look like Weili's going to bite off a little bit more than she could chew, potentially. But we'll just have to see. And also there's the potential of a Rose Namajunas fight, which could be, again, quite interesting. Rose obviously lost her belt to Jessica Andrade, who then lost it to Zhang Weili. Rose and Andrade are set for a rematch. If Rose does win that fight, then yeah, it sets herself up. Could that happen? Could that be the next fight? Maybe, potentially. I'd quite like to see that fight as well. Or maybe even another Joanna fight with Rose, because those two create magic every time they're in the octagon. But obviously Rose has beat Joanna twice, so she might not want that fight. Right, now we've got Beneil Dariush, who had one of the most stunning knockouts of the night. It was a real swing of momentum. It looked like he was on the back foot, looked like he was going to lose the fight potentially to Drakkar Klose, And yeah, he just flipped it on a dime, came forward and knocked him out, left his gum shield hanging out of his mouth, and it was one of the most impressive things that we saw at UFC 248. But after the fight, he did a weird thing where he called out Robert Whittaker, which he didn't really call him out. He says he's a really good dad, and when Dariush becomes a dad, he wants to be a dad like Robert Whittaker. So that was quite confusing. But going forward now, I feel like Dariush is in a position where he's got a lot of wins under his belt, and he needs a bigger name now just to try and climb into that top 15 of the lightweight division. And that's where you've got somebody like Donald Cowboy Cerrone. He's not really got much on his plate at this point after taking on Conor McGregor and being completely destroyed by the Mac. Does Cowboy want that fight? I mean, if Cowboy beats Dariush, again, it brings him back into the conversation with the lightweight division as well. So that, for me, makes the most sense for those two fighters going forward. And we're going to go into the welterweight division now because there were two welterweight clashes on this card. The first one we're going to talk about is Neil Magny, who obviously beat Li Jingliang on the night. I got my prediction very wrong with that. I thought Jingliang was going to do the business, but he didn't. He let me down. So not happy with you, Jingliang, but it is what it is. Magny looked impressive. He was returning for the first time in a couple of years now, and he looked impressive. He looked as kind of on the ball, fit, bouncing as ready as what he was in the first round and the third round, which was insane. So going forward, he did call out Michael Chiesa at the end of the fight, which I think Chiesa kind of confirmed on Twitter that, yeah, that is something I'm interested in. Make that fight happen. That would be one of the greatest grappling exchanges I think we could see right now in the welterweight division. You've got two expert grapplers. I think Magny's got a bit more of an advantage when things are on the feet, uses his range really well. But if this goes to the ground, Chiesa has finished most of his fights when they have been finished by submission. So you got a recipe for some seriously high quality grappling there, which is what we all love to see. So hopefully that fight does get made. I'm not sure when it get made, maybe the next couple of months, maybe towards June, July, but that is one that I would definitely love to see. Last up, we're going to talk about Alex Oliveira, who beat Max Griffin via split decision. This was an all-out war as well, just like it promised to be. The Cowboy did really well on the night. It was bloody. There was like cuts everywhere. What he did to Max Griffin's face, cuts everywhere. It was what you wanted, a real blood and guts kind of fight. But what next for Alex Oliveira? Well, he's in probably one of the most competitive divisions in the UFC. That and the lightweight division, it's anyone's game really. From 15 upwards, anybody could beat anybody on the best day. So I feel like he needs to take somebody out in that top 15. Maybe Anthony Pettis, that'd be a great fight. Pettis hasn't been doing really well at welterweight. He might, in fact, jump down to lightweight, but if he does stick around, that'd be a great fight for him. And then maybe even Stephen Thompson. That'd be, if Stephen Thompson was to beat this version of Alex Oliveira, who's kind of got a nice win under his belt, then that's good for him as well. Keeps him kind of in that conversation for a championship shot at some point going forward. Those are two fights I'd quite like to see. Let me know who you think he should be taking on. Maybe somebody else, maybe somebody who's not actually in the top 15 rankings, but I think that makes sense for him going forward now. He needs a bigger fight, a bigger name to add to his CV. And that's my main card predictions of what is next for these winners. The winners out of these five massive fights that we saw at UFC 248. Let me know what you think. Obviously, if you completely disagree with me and you've got other suggestions who you think these fighters should be taking on next, let me know all about them in the comment section right down there. And do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button. Do not forget to ring the bell as well for all things WhatCulture Combat. Of course, we've got everything from lists. We've got me doing a weird video diary about getting punched in the face and cut up and bruised, and it's great. If you like seeing people getting punched or hearing about them being punched, you want to see those videos. But with all that being said, have the best of days, and I hopefully will see you soon.